Today, let's get to listen to stories of triumph amidst failures, courage despite fear, strength through weakness, and even the occasional hopeful cheer from personal punny experiences. I am your host, RKaye, and this is the BetterU Podcast. What is up, fam? Welcome to today's episode of the BetterU Podcast. Coach RKaye here, welcoming you guys again. And it is a brand new month for all of us. It's actually my birthday month. All right. So this month, I just wanted to showcase for you guys some of the many issues that we always encounter in our own fitness journey. I myself do experience this a lot of the time and still get through it at certain levels. I believe the fitness journey isn't really something that we resolve in totality. It oftentimes just becomes a level up hot or just goes up a notch, a little bit higher than how we initially started. But yeah, it's a consistent pursuit, if we could put it that way. And yeah, we do tend to look at that word journey. It's something that really is a continuous thing that we'll really need to overcome. And so today, one of the many issues that I believe a lot of us do get to go a little cray-cray about would be gym equipment. And if you guys fondly remember the time that we were all stuck at home with all our pandemic workouts, that in itself was a time and period that is proof enough that equipment or having to be in a fitness routine without the equipment is something that is a very big possibility for all of us. The number one always is body weight training that any of us can really do. You have air squats, you have push-ups, you have sit-ups, you have leg raises, all those very basic routines. We can always incorporate it in a particular fitness routine that we ourselves can do. And all of those different drills and exercises and movements that I just mentioned to you guys, what's great about body weight training is that you actually get to digress or make each movement a little bit your own, something a bit easier. For example, if you cannot do a full squat, you can always begin the movement with your hips a little bit higher than your knees. That is no problem at all. It's something that a lot of people tend to feel a little too crazy about. You know, people always need to just put their own little opinions with whatever it is that we want to do with our own fitness journey. And that, my friends, is a formula for disaster, if you know what I mean. Again, guys, many fitness journeys that we see online, you know, the progress, the transformations that happen, a lot of us tend to feel that we need to be at par with those progress reports and transformations that we see, when in fact we all have very unique journeys. Not everyone going through a weight loss journey will have the exact formula from start to finish. There will be portions that will be similar from person A to person B if you like to compare two people. But at the end of the day, they will still have very different stories. And that, to me, is something that a lot of us really need to check on. A lot of us really need to realize that not every fitness journey will be exactly the same thing. We can be inspired by it. Go ahead, be inspired, be motivated. But to tell you frankly, you cannot do an exact transformation and copy it from start to finish. So in any case, going back to body weight exercises and really seeing the potential of it and how we can really benefit from body weight exercises. To me personally, body weight exercises are actually quite a struggle sometimes, especially if you want to, number one, become very, very focused on the form that you need to perform. Many people think like, oh, I can do a bunch of push-ups, I can do a bunch of sit-ups, but are you doing each repetition at par with the actual form that is needed for those skills? Many people think that body weight exercises or body weight movements are particular movements that are way too easy to do. They're easy to do if you're doing a sloppy job with a form, mind you. And sometimes that is actually what happens. People think that, oh, it's another body weight exercise. No, it's not just another body weight exercise, because to me, quite frankly, if you cannot do some of the very basic body weight exercises in pristine form, then I wouldn't really say that you can't do free weight exercises. You can, definitely. But to me, some of these really basic movements are a good way for you to build on not just your strength, but also how your body moves, how your body executes particular exercises and movements, and to get engaged into a very good structured training program. Like I said, not everyone will have the ability to really go and do a particular form at a perfect level. That is true, right? With regard to, of course, my example a little while back with a squat, if you can't really do a full squat, well and good, but be sure to be within the range of the form. All right, so as I mentioned, if your hips land a little bit higher in comparison to your knees, because generally when we all do a squat, you want your knees and your hips to at least be in parallel, or to the floor, or be at least aligned, right? Not everyone will be able to do that, I get it, but of course you have to ensure that your spine is aligned as well, so shoulder and hip in a very good line. Don't hunch your back, keep the chest up a little bit. So these are a lot of components just for a squat. And there are, again, as I mentioned a while ago, there are particular ways to bring down a movement down a notch or bring it up higher as well. So that in itself, guys, is already a great trick for many of us who want to do our training wherever we are, pretty much, like during the pandemic, right? So, yeah, as I mentioned, that is one of the key things that many of us regard to be an objection. Like, I don't want to train unless I'm training in a gym. Okay, well and good, especially if you are already maybe intermediate or in an advanced level of training programming. If you have been training quite a lot already, you are very consistent, and you have been doing it maybe a year or a couple of years already, I get it. It becomes a little bit dull. It becomes a little bit boring if you do a lot of body weight training. But the key to it is you don't essentially need to invest on so many of these equipment. You can just pick up something in your own home that could work out for you as something that will be working, or that will become the exact equipment that you would like to use. A good example of this are very popular in many routines would be these I forget the exact name of it, but we have like exercise, those little exercise discs. There you go. I kind of remember now. So these discs are pretty much very helpful when it comes to many different routines. You can do planks and slide your legs away and do mountain climbers on the floor. You can also do your lunges. So instead of stepping to the side, forward or backward, you slide forward or backward. If you have actually used it, it's very, very good to keep your core engaged, keep your legs and your arms nice and toned. And if you don't necessarily have or want to spend money on these exercise discs, a good alternative, a very, very good alternative, is just a piece of cloth. If you don't want a piece of cloth, a small little towel, maybe even a rag, it doesn't even need to be a new thing. You can use used little grammatical error there. You can use used clothing, maybe you tore a shirt or you tore your pants. This is a great way for you to still do exercise disc programming, but less the expense to it. You can also actually use a pair of socks. Just wear your socks and slide along on the floor. With exercise discs also, by the way, sometimes there also is like a mat that you need to buy, or a piece of film, I believe, so that the exercise disc slides along a little bit better. Don't really need to buy those unless you don't really have some sort of flooring in your home that's a little bit smooth. Maybe you need to buy it. But so the point of the matter here, guys, is that there are always other alternatives that we can use. You don't have dumbbells or barbells, you can always grab a little can of tomato soup or anything in the kitchen, anything in your garage, something that's a little bit heavier, you can use as a dumbbell or a barbell. I remember, and if you actually get to look at a few videos from
2020, 2021, I did actually get to use soda bottles and put a lot of water in it, and I use those as my plates for my barbell. So there you go. There are a lot of alternatives. And what's great about not having to mind all these equipment is you get to really become very creative, ladies and gents. So there are just literally so many options that you get to choose from if you don't really want to deal with an actual fitness equipment. All right. And yeah, I mean, all is well if you are willing to spend the money. No worries, that is fine. But to me, making it as an excuse, quote unquote, I know that a lot of us feel that when a trainer like myself or a coach tells us, oh, you're just making it as an excuse, we really got to go deep within and think to ourselves, is it really an excuse for me, or is it really something that cannot be done? I always tend to believe that if there is a certain problem that occurs that hinders us from being sure that we go through our fitness journey, sometimes it's a mind thing more than anything else. So if you are stuck and telling yourself, and this is your number one objection in starting, please let this episode be a guide for you guys. I only gave you a few ways that you can deal with it. There are just literally a ton of no equipment workouts out there that you can go and check out. But yes, let this not be an excuse for you guys to not start off your journey. It's always great to look forward to progress and to go through your fitness journey knowing that you started today. All right. And if you don't want to, maybe you want to go outside and take a walk. That doesn't need equipment, right? All right, guys. So that will be it for today's episode of the BetterU Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today with all my ramblings. And quite frankly, guys and gals, that is really just one of the many reasons why I appear every Fridays and every day pretty much. I am here to always help you guys out in whatever troubles that you are all experiencing. All right, so if there are any issues that you would like me to cover for the next episodes of the BetterU Podcast, just let me know. Go ahead and leave a comment. You can just say hi. That's fine with me. All right. So again, guys, thank you for joining me in today's episode. I appreciate that so much. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. It really helps the channel a lot. And yeah, that is it for me today. I bid you adieu. Coach RKaye here, reminding you always to never give up on your movement journey because it's never too late to move. Bye, guys. See you again.